The night shift at NASA's Deep Space Communications Complex was usually quiet. Rows of screens glowed in the dark room, showing signals from probes, satellites, and faraway stars. Most nights, the data was ordinary, just numbers and waves that followed predictable rules, but tonight was different. A technician named Daniel sat forward in his chair, staring at a pattern on the screen that made no sense. It was not noise. It was not random. It was repeating. The signal pulsed in a rhythm that seemed alive. It was faint, buried under cosmic radiation. But it was there. Daniel checked again, adjusting filters. The pulse remained steady and strange. He frowned, whispering to himself that can't be real. His colleague, Maria, walked over with a cup of coffee. She looked at his screen and froze. "What is that?" she asked, her voice low. Daniel swallowed hard. "I don't know. But it's coming from the outer edge of the solar system." Within an hour, the control room was full of senior scientists. They checked the data, argued, and recalculated. One thing became clear. The source of the signal was orbiting beyond Pluto. At first, they thought it was a comet or an asteroid reflecting strange frequencies. But then, new scans revealed something terrifying and impossible. It was not a rock. It was not natural. It was a structure, and its size was beyond belief. Then, data showed a station bigger than any human city, slowly drifting in stable orbit, older than any spacecraft. Older than any known alien design. NASA held the information in secret. Only a handful of people knew. The world outside carried on as normal, unaware of the discovery that would change everything inside NASA. Fear and curiosity battled in the hearts of the scientists. The station seemed to break every law of physics they understood. Its orbit was perfect, not decaying, as if gravity itself bent to protect it. Its surface reflected almost no light, but instruments showed internal power still active after billions of years. Billions. That number haunted everyone. If the readings were correct, this station was older than the solar system, older than Earth, older than humanity itself. The first pictures came in from long-range telescopes. They showed a massive structure shaped like spirals and arcs. It did not look like any alien ship ever recorded. No sharp edges, no clear engines, no signs of decay. Instead, it looked alive. Almost as if the station was grown instead of built. Maria whispered, "It feels like it's watching us." No one laughed, because deep down, everyone felt the same. Meetings were held at the highest levels. The president was briefed. Generals were called in. Some wanted to keep the discovery hidden. Others argued humanity must investigate. The debate was fierce, but in the end, a decision was made. NASA would send a crew, a new experimental spacecraft. The fastest ever built was prepared in secret. Only the bravest astronauts were chosen. They knew the risks, but they also knew this was history. If the station was real, if it truly defied physics, then humanity had found something greater than anything before. As the launch date grew closer, the signal continued to pulse. It almost seemed to change. It's as if answering back, the rhythm shifted, matching human heartbeat patterns. Daniel stared at the graphs in shock. "It's adapting to us," he whispered. Maria shook her head. "No, it's waiting for us," the night before launch. The chosen crew sat together in silence, each of them thinking about the same question. Who built it? And why did they leave it here? The impossible signal had become a call that only humanity had heard. The universe was far older and stranger than they ever imagined, and tomorrow they would meet the station that defied time. The countdown had begun, and the world was about to change forever. The experimental spacecraft launched quietly, far from public eyes. Only a few leaders in NASA, the government, and the military knew the truth. The mission was classified at the highest level. The ship carried 4 astronauts, each chosen for their courage, skill, and ability to face the unknown. Captain Ryan Keller sat at the front of the command module. Beside him was Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, the sharpest pilot NASA had. Behind them were Dr. Leon Carter, a physicist, and Dr. Alina Ramirez, a biologist who had studied alien environments. Together, they were humanity's first visitors to the station beyond Pluto. Together, they would carry the weight of the entire species. For days, the ship raced through the black silence of deep space. It used engines no human craft had ever used before. Experimental drives cut through distance in weeks instead of years. Still, the journey felt endless. Out the windows, stars drifted, cold and unchanging. But the crew knew each passing day brought them closer to the impossible object. The tension grew heavier as they neared the coordinates. Long-range scanners picked up faint energy waves. The signal was no longer just a pulse, it was a steady rhythm that seemed to grow stronger as they approached, almost like a beacon calling them in. Sarah whispered, "It feels alive." Ryan only nodded, unable to argue. Then came the moment on the edge of their vision. The darkness shifted. At first, it looked like a shadow, huge and motionless. But as the ship drifted closer, the shadow revealed shape. The crew gasped. Words lost in their throats. There it was, the station. It was bigger than they imagined. Not just a station, but a world-sized construct. It hung in space like a sleeping giant. Spirals of metal and crystals stretching miles across, arcs of shining material twisted around a central core that glowed faintly blue. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Dr. Carter leaned forward, eyes wide. "This is not engineering. This is something else," Alina whispered. "It looks like it grew, like a living thing." As the ship circled the massive structure, details became clear. The surfaces were smooth, but patterned, marked with lines that glowed faintly like veins. Every piece seemed to fit together in curves. No straight lines, no bolts, no seams. It looked less like a machine and more like a creature frozen in time. Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. "It's waiting for us," he said quietly. They passed over an opening and entrance. The mouth of a tunnel stretched wide enough for their ship to enter. It pulsed with light, as if welcoming them. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Every instinct screamed danger, but every part of their training told them to go forward. NASA's orders were clear: investigate, record, survive. Ryan's voice was steady. But inside, he felt fear. "Prepare for entry," he said. The ship drifted toward the glowing tunnel. As soon as they crossed the threshold, the station reacted. The walls lit up with flowing light, following them like a heartbeat. No engines pushed them, yet their ship was pulled forward smoothly. The crew felt a pressure, like invisible hands guiding them. Sarah gripped the controls. "I'm not flying this anymore." Carter muttered, "It's flying us inside." The scale was overwhelming. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber the size of a city. Floating platforms hung in the air. Glowing symbols rotated slowly, like constellations. It was silent, yet the silence felt alive. Every surface glowed with a soft energy that defied explanation. Alina pressed her face to the glass, her breath fogging. "It's not abandoned," she whispered. "It's alive." Their instruments went wild. Radiation levels were normal. Oxygen traces were present, even stranger. The gravity inside the station matched Earth's perfectly. Carter frowned. "That's not possible." But the readings were clear. The station had created an environment designed for humans. Ryan clenched his jaw. It knew we were coming. The deeper they went, the more the sense of intelligence grew. Symbols on the walls shifted, forming patterns that almost resembled letters. The lights flickered in rhythm with their heartbeats. Sarah's hands trembled as she whispered, "It's watching us." No one corrected her, because everyone felt the same. Finally, the ship stopped moving. Guided into a landing platform, the walls glowed brighter, bathing them in light. Their helmets and suits were ready, but the air inside the station was safe. The readings showed. Breathable atmosphere. Ryan looked at his team, his voice heavy with the weight of history. "Open the hatch," he said, as the doors slid open. The crew stepped out into the alien station. Their boots echoed softly on the smooth floor. The air was cool, almost fresh, carrying a faint hum. Every step felt like walking deeper into the unknown. Above them, vast arches stretched higher than cathedrals. Glowing with rivers of light, no words could capture the scale, the beauty. The terror humanity had stepped into a place older than Earth itself, and the station seemed to welcome them. The first look was not the end, it was only the beginning. Something waited inside. Something that had defied time, physics, and reason. And now it was awake. The first steps inside the alien station felt unreal. The crew moved slowly, helmets on, lights sweeping across endless walls that glowed faintly. Every surface was smooth, yet covered with shifting lines like veins of living stone. The air carried a faint vibration, a hum that seemed to move through their bones. It was not silence, it was something deeper. As if the entire place was breathing, Dr. Lena Ramirez touched the nearest wall with her gloved hand. At once, the glowing veins pulsed. Brighter, responding to her touch, she gasped and pulled back, but the wall remained warm, alive. "It feels like it knows we're here," she whispered. Captain Ryan Keller raised his hand. Motioning for caution, "Stay focused, stay together," he ordered, his voice calm but tight. They walked deeper into the corridor, which seemed to stretch endlessly ahead. The lights followed them, blooming softly in every direction. It was as if the station itself lit their path, guiding them to something unseen. Dr. Leon Carter checked his instruments and frowned. "The readings are unstable," he said quietly. "The walls are giving off energy I can't measure. It's rewriting itself." Sarah Mitchell, the pilot, shook her head, her eyes darting nervously. "This place isn't dead. It's waiting," she muttered. The corridor opened suddenly into a vast chamber. The ceiling arched so high it vanished into shadows. Floating shapes drifted above them, symbols of light. Turning slowly like constellations, the crew stared in awe, unable to look away. Each symbol pulsed with rhythm, and for a moment, Ryan thought he could hear them whisper. It was not sound, but something deeper, voices brushing against the edge. Of his mind, the words were not clear, yet the feeling was strong knowledge pressing to be understood. Alina staggered, clutching her helmet. "I heard it," she gasped. "Voices, equations, numbers whispering in my head." Carter rushed to her, scanning her vitals. Her heart rate was high, her brainwaves unstable. But she was conscious. Her eyes wide with wonder instead of fear. "It wasn't random," she said, trembling. "It was like they were trying to teach me something." The lights above shifted again. One symbol descended, hovering close to the crew. It glowed brighter and brighter until shapes inside it rearranged. Letters formed human letters. Glowing in midair, the crew froze, stunned into silence. The symbol read, "Do you hear us?" No one spoke for a long moment. Finally, Ryan whispered, "This is impossible." Carter shook his head, sweat beading on his forehead. "No, it's worse than impossible. It means this place is aware, and it's choosing to speak in our language." Sarah's hand drifted to her sidearm, the weight of fear heavy in her chest. "We shouldn't be here," she muttered, but her voice shook. The chamber began to change. The walls rippled like water, reshaping into doorways. One door slid open with a sound like a sigh beyond it. Faint blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. Ryan stared at it for a long time, then nodded. "We move forward," he said. Inside, the chamber narrowed into a circular hall. The hum grew louder, and the whispers clearer. Now they all heard it, voices speaking in layers, old and deep. The words were half math, half language, impossible to translate. Yet each of them felt as strange. Familiarity. It was as if the station was pulling memories from their minds and reshaping them into meaning. Elena's breathing grew uneven. Her eyes locked on the glowing walls. "It's showing me images," she whispered. "Stars collapsing, worlds burning, ships falling into darkness." Ryan put a hand on her shoulder, steadying her. "Stay with us," he said, though he felt the same pull inside his own mind. Suddenly, the floor trembled. The hum rose into a deep vibration, shaking their bones. The whispers grew into a chorus of countless voices. The crew clutched their helmets, fighting the overwhelming noise, and then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Silence fell heavy and sharp. In the center of the hall, a platform rose from the floor. On it lay an objecta, small black cube, glowing faintly blue. The cube lifted into the air, floating before them. The whispers returned, soft this time, carrying a clear message. "Remember us?" Carter's voice shook. "This isn't just a machine," he said. "It's memory. It's holding the voices of something that lived before us." Ryan's jaw tightened. He looked at the cube, then at his team. "Or it's a test," he said, his voice low. "And we're the subjects." The cube drifted closer, humming gently. It pulsed once, twice, then released a wave of light. The chamber filled with images, stars, galaxies, explosions, and then faces, not human, not alien, but something in between, eyes too familiar, shapes too close to human to be coincidence. The crew stood frozen, their breath stolen away. The station was not just old. It carried the memory of beings who might have looked like them, and the whispers grew louder. "We were here before you, and we waited for you." Ryan felt his heart pound in his chest. The impossible truth pressed down on them. This place was not just a relic. It was a voice from the past. A past older than Earth, older than humanity itself. And it had chosen to speak now. The question was why the cube of light hovered in silence. Its glow washed over the astronauts. Soft yet heavy, Captain Ryan Keller steadied his breath, his heart pounding. Every instinct told him they were standing before something greater than human history. Dr. Leon Carter's eyes never left the floating object. He whispered like a man lost in prayer, "This is beyond science." The cube pulsed again, releasing waves of data into their suits, numbers, symbols, images, all rushing into their helmets like a flood. The crew staggered as streams of impossible knowledge pushed against their minds. Sarah gritted her teeth, forcing herself to stay focused. "What's happening to us?" she gasped. Carter blinked hard, his voice shaking. "It's giving us information," he said. "Raw data, Faye. I'm reading this right. It's telling us its age." The number appeared on their visors. Billions of years older than the solar system, older than Earth. Elena Ramirez's breath caught in her throat. "That can't be," she whispered. "Nothing lasts that long. Nothing survives the birth of stars," but the readings were clear. The cube and the station around it existed before Earth even formed. The room grew colder, the hum lower. As if the station itself responded to their disbelief, Ryan clenched, his fists staring at the endless spirals above them. "If this place is that old," he said quietly, "then everything we know about time is wrong." They moved deeper into the chamber, following a trail of glowing veins across the floor. Each step echoed with strange resonance. Like walking across the skin of something alive, the walls began to shift again. This time they revealed images, moving like shadows frozen in crystal. Stars collapsing, galaxies torn apart, entire civilizations vanishing into silence. And then, the same spiral shape of the station appeared over and over. "Always there, always watching," Alina whispered in awe. "It's been everywhere, It's older than destruction itself. Carter scanned the walls with shaking hands. The results sent waves of confusion through him. The material doesn't age, he muttered. It exists outside decay. Outside entropy, as if it's locked. In a different stream of time, Sarah frowned, her voice low. Are you saying it doesn't belong here? He nodded slowly. Yes, it doesn't belong in our universe the way we know it. The deeper they went, the more paradoxes appeared. Radiation signatures showed impossible patterns. Energy flows circled endlessly without losing power, even. The gravity inside the station shifted to match their movements. Every reading broke the laws of physics they lived by, Sarah muttered. This isn't just technology. It's rewriting reality around us, Carter whispered back. Or it's anchored to a reality older than ours. They entered another vast chamber, this one lined with tall pillars. Each pillar glowed with scenes like ancient history, written in light. One showed a barren earth, lifeless and gray. Long before oceans and skies, another showed stars forming. Planets spinning, galaxies taking shape. Yet through all of it, the station remained, drifting, silent, unchanging. Ryan's voice dropped to a whisper. It was here before us, before Earth, before time as we know it. The whispers returned. Soft but clearer now. Not just numbers, not just voices, but questions. The words pressed into their minds. Do you understand? Do you see the flow of time? Elena trembled, shaking her head. No, it's impossible. Nothing can survive outside time. But Carter's eyes burned with a mixture of fear and wonder. Unless it was made that way, he said, by something or someone who understood time better than we ever will. The paradox grew heavier. How could human-like shapes be inside a station that predated Earth? Why did its systems adapt perfectly to them? Why did it speak in their language? Ryan stared into the endless spirals above. Every answer led to more questions. We don't belong here, he muttered. Or maybe this place doesn't belong in our universe anymore. Suddenly, the floor rippled beneath them. The cube rose higher, glowing brighter. The whispers surged, filling their helmets with pressure. Their vision blurred as images burned into their minds, a timeline breaking, splintering, rewriting itself over and over. Civilizations erased, replaced, reborn, and always. The station at the center, untouched, eternal. The message slammed into their thoughts with undeniable force. We are the keepers of time. We do not age. We do not die. The light dimmed, and the cube lowered again. The chamber grew silent. But the air was thick with meaning. Sarah collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. This place isn't a relic, she whispered. It's a prison of time. Elena's voice shook as she added, or a guardian watching over something bigger than us. Ryan stared at the cube, his expression grim. If it's that old, then it's seen everything, he said. Every rise, every fall, every end. And every beginning, he clenched his jaw. The weight of the paradox pressing on his chest. If it's been waiting for us, then the question is why now? The hum returned, soft and steady. The cube pulsed once more, releasing a final message. This time, the words were clear, written across the walls in light. Your time is coming. The crew stood frozen, their hearts racing. The paradox was not just science anymore. It was a warning, and it had chosen humanity to hear it. The chamber was quiet again. But the silence was not empty. It carried a weight, as if millions of years of voices were trapped in the air. The crew stood frozen, still hearing the echo of the cube's last words. Your time is coming. Captain Ryan Keller forced himself to breathe. He looked at his team, Sarah pale and tense, Carter trembling. With excitement, Elena wide-eyed with awe. We need to keep moving, Ryan said, his voice steady but heavy. They all knew that whatever waited deeper inside the station was no longer just discovery. It was destiny. The cube, drifted aside, as if giving them permission to pass the walls. A head shifted, forming a new passage glowing with faint blue light. The crew followed, each step echoing like footsteps in a cathedral. The corridor narrowed, then opened into another chamber. This one was different. It looked like a hall of records. Thousands of panels lined the walls, each glowing with symbols. Some pulsed like heartbeats. Others flickered like fading stars. When Alina stepped closer, one panel shifted, the symbols rearranged. Morphing into words in English, her voice trembled as she read aloud. "We speak because you have come. We speak because it is time." Sarah's throat went dry. "It's talking to us directly," she whispered. Carter's hands shook as he scanned the glowing panel. "The language is being rewritten in real time," he said. "It's adapting to our thoughts. Reading our minds." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Then it wants us to understand," he said. "So let's listen." The lights brightened, and the panels shifted again. This time, an image formed across the walls, stretching from one side to the other. It showed a galaxy spinning in the dark. Then, strange shapes appeared, vast ships, alien and beautiful. They clashed in war, beams of light tearing through space. Worlds burning. The message unfolded like a story told in silence. Alina gasped. "It's showing us history." The panels shifted again. Civilizations rose and fell. Species reached for the stars and then vanished, every time. The same pattern, repeated conflict, collapse, silence. Carter's voice cracked as he whispered, "They're warning us this has happened before." The walls glowed brighter, and more words appeared. "We tried to stop them. We failed. The cycle repeats." Sarah's hands clenched into fists. "Cycle." She muttered, "What cycle?" The panels answered. Images of destruction filled the room, supernova swallowing worlds, black holes consuming fleets. Then a shadow appeared, vast and formless, stretching across the galaxy like a wave of darkness. "The hunger comes." The message read, "It always comes." Ryan felt his stomach tighten. This was no longer just science. It was prophecy. The alien station was not a ruin. It was a beacon, built to warn whoever came next. And now it had chosen humanity. The panels shifted again, this time showing Earth. The blue planet glowed against the dark of space. Ships left its orbit, humans spreading outward. But then, shadows swept across it, erasing everything in fire. The crew froze, their hearts racing. The message was clear, was not safe. Humanity's time was limited. Elena's voice broke into a whisper. "They knew about us." She said they knew humanity would rise, and they built this for us. Carter shook his head in disbelief. "That means they saw the future, or they created it," he said, his voice shaking. Sarah stared at the images of Earth burning. "No," she said firmly. "It means we still have a choice." The walls pulsed, responding to her words. The message continued. The hunger can be delayed. The hunger can be fought, but only if the chosen stand together. The crew looked at one another in silence. Chosen, the word echoed in their minds, heavy and terrifying. Ryan stepped forward, his eyes locked on the glowing panels. "Why us?" he demanded, his voice low. "Why humanity?" For a long moment, the station did not answer. Then the cube floated forward, glowing brighter. A final message burned across the walls. "Because you are like us, because you remember, because you fight." Carter whispered in awe. "They've been waiting for us." Sarah shook her head, fear in her eyes. "Or they made us," she said, her voice trembling. "What if we're not what we think we are?" The chamber darkened suddenly, the panels fading. Only one sentence remained, glowing across the walls. "Prepare, your time is coming." The message ended. But the meaning lingered like a shadow. The crew stood in silence, their minds burning. With questions, had they just been warned? Or had they just been chosen for something far greater? The alien message was clear. Yet its true purpose was still hidden, and as they turned to leave the chamber, the whispers followed them, soft, endless, eternal. The chamber behind them dimmed, but the weight of the alien message clung to their minds like a shadow. Every step echoed in the hollow corridors. Every sound reminded them that they were not alone. Captain Ryan Keller kept his hand near his sidearm, though he knew no weapon could fight something like this. The others followed close, silent, their eyes darting at the glowing walls that seemed to breathe. The passage narrowed, twisting downward into the depths of the station. Strange lights rippled across the surface, flowing like water under glass. Dr. Leon Carter scanned the walls, his voice shaking. These patterns, they're not random. They're DNA structures. Elena Ramirez turned sharply, her heart racing. DNA? Whose DNA? She whispered. Carter's face was pale as he muttered. Human. The crew froze, the silence heavier than before. Sarah Mitchell's breath caught, her voice trembling. Human DNA here. Billions of years old. That's not possible. Ryan clenched his jaw, his eyes narrowing. Nothing about this place has been possible, he said. But the readings don't lie. The passage opened into a vast chamber lit by cold blue. Light in the center stood rows of tall crystal structures, each one glowing faintly. At first, they looked like monuments, but as the crew stepped closer, they saw shapes inside. Skeletons, Elena gasped, stumbling back. The figures trapped in the crystal were not alien. They were human-like, their bones long, their skulls familiar, their hands delicate and unmistakably human. The crew stood frozen in horror. Billions of years ago, long before Earth, human forms had existed here. Carter whispered, his voice cracking. This changes everything. We were not the first. Sarah's voice trembled. Then, who were they? Ryan's chest tightened, his instincts screaming. Not who, he said softly. But what happened to them? The crystals pulsed, as if reacting to their presence. The skeletons seemed to shift in the light, their hollow eyes staring, and then faint whispers filled the chamber. The same whispers they had heard before, but now clearer, sharper. Elena clutched her helmet, tears stinging her eyes. They're speaking, she whispered. Not memories' voices. The words seeped into their minds. Heavy and cold. We were chosen, we were warned, we failed. The crew staggered under the weight of the voices. Each word carried sorrow and rage. The station shook softly as the voices rose. We are the ones before you. We are the broken. We are the fallen. Ryan steadied himself, his voice firm. What happened to you? He demanded. The whispers answered, filling every corner of the chamber. The hunger came. The hunger consumed. We could not stop it. We became the warning. Sarah shook her head, her hands trembling. They're us, she whispered. An earlier version of us, maybe, the same design, maybe the same blood. Carter's voice cracked as he stared at the human-like remains. Humanity didn't start on Earth, he muttered. We're survivors, fragments of something older. The crystals pulsed brighter. The whispers grew darker, sharper. You are like us. But you must not fail. Your time is short. The hunger wakes again. The chamber trembled. Dust falling from the ceiling. Elena clung to Ryan's arm, her voice breaking. They died trying to stop at Tand. Now it's our turn. The crew backed away, fear heavy in their throats. But as they turned, the floor shifted, revealing another chamber below. The ground cracked open, and a spiral staircase of light appeared, leading downward. Ryan's face was grim, but he nodded. We're not done, he said. We need to know everything. They descended slowly, the whispers following like shadows. The lower chamber was darker, colder, filled with machines half buried in the floor. screens flickered to life as they entered, showing streams of stars, galaxies, and collapsing worlds. And at the center of it all, a single message burned in every language. The cycle is endless. Only one can break it. Carter fell to his knees, overwhelmed. "They're saying we're the next test," he whispered. "Humanity has been chosen to either break the cycle or join the fallen." Sarah's voice trembled with fury. "So we're just pieces on a board. Another experiment." The whispers answered again, cold and final. "Chosen or doomed. There is no middle." The chamber shook violently, the crystals above shattering in a wave of light. The human-like remains dissolved into dust, their voices fading. But one final sentence burned across the walls, carved in fire and shadow: "Do not make our mistake." The lights dimmed, silence fell. The crew stood in the darkness, hearts pounding. The truth had been revealed. They were not the first humans. They were not alone in history, and whatever destroyed those who came before was waking again. Ryan clenched his fists, his voice steady, despite the fear. "We know the truth now," he said. "But the question is, can we survive it?" The chamber lay in silence after the voices faded. Dust floated in the cold air where the human-like skeletons had turned to ash. The crew stood together, their hearts heavy, their minds filled with fear and wonder. They had seen the truth. Humanity was not the first, and the cycle of destruction was real. Now they knew what the alien station wanted. It had given them a choice. Captain Ryan Keller's voice was calm but carried weight. "We have what we came for," he said. "The truth, the warning, the message." But even as he spoke, the ground beneath them rumbled. The cube of light returned, rising slowly into the air. Its glow brighter, sharper, as if demanding an answer. The whispers filled their helmets again, pressing into their minds. "You must decide. Take the power, or close the cycle." Sarah Mitchell stepped back, shaking her head. "This is a trap," she said firmly. "They want us to make the same mistake they did." Her eyes darted to the remains, to the warning carved in fire: "Do not make our mistake." Elena Ramirez clutched her chest, her voice soft. "But if we walk away, what chance do we have against the hunger?" Her eyes were wet, filled with sorrow. "If this station holds power that can fight it, shouldn't we use it?" Dr. Leon Carter fell to his knees, staring at the cube with wide eyes. "This is knowledge beyond time," he whispered. "It can change everything: physics, energy, life itself. We could rewrite the universe." Ryan turned sharply, his voice stern. "Or destroy it," he said. "Look at them." Leon, look at what happened to the ones before us. They had the same choice. The cube pulsed harder, releasing waves of light that wrapped around the crew like invisible chains. The words thundered in their minds: power to resist or silence forever. Choose. The floor split, and two paths opened before them. To the left, a chamber glowing, gold with energy, swirling and alive. To the right, a dark corridor leading to silence, its walls closing slowly like a gate. The message was clear: take the gift, or seal the station and walk away. Ryan's chest tightened, the weight of humanity on his shoulders. If they took the power, Earth might have a chance against the hunger. But if they took it, would they become like the ones before, broken and erased? If they sealed the station, they might protect humanity from corruption, but without its knowledge. How would they fight what was coming? Sarah's voice broke the silence, sharp and steady. "I say we leave it," she said. "We walk away, we seal it forever. Humans must face their future without a crutch, without this poison." Carter's voice rose, desperate. "No, we need it, Sarah. Don't you see? Without this, humanity is doomed. This is our only chance." Alina looked between them, torn. Her voice was soft but filled with pain. "What if both of you are right? She whispered. The cube pulsed brighter. Faster, the whispers grew louder, shaking the chamber. Choose humanity. Choose your fate. Ryan raised his hand, silencing the argument. His eyes burned with determination, his jaw set. No. He said firmly, "We are not pawns. We are not experiments. We don't let a dead station decide who we are." He turned to the dark corridor, the path of silence. "We walk away," he said. "We seal this place, but we carry the warning. Humanity will fight the hunger our way, not theirs." Sarah exhaled with relief. Nodding quickly, Carter shook his head violently, his voice breaking. "You're dooming us," he shouted. "Without this, we'll be wiped out just like them." Elena's tears slipped free, but she stepped beside Ryan. "He's right about the risk," she whispered. "But Ryan is right. Tui must choose to remain human." The cube throbbed with anger, the chamber trembling violently. The voices thundered, "Then you will fail. You will fall. You will join us." Ryan glared at the light, his voice sharp. "No. We'll fight, and we'll win." Because we're human, the dark corridor began to close, its gate of stone sealing slowly. Ryan motioned his team forward. Together, they ran through, leaving the cube screaming behind them. The whispers rose in fury. "You cannot escape. Your time will come." And then, silence. The crew emerged back at their ship, the corridors of the station dimming as if the giant construct was going back to sleep. For a long moment, no one spoke. Sarah collapsed into her seat, shaking with relief. Carter sat in silence, his face pale. His eyes filled with despair. Alina whispered a prayer under her breath. Ryan stood tall, staring out at the dark of space. "We carry the warning," he said. "That's enough." As the ship pulled away from the station, the massive spirals faded into shadow. It did not follow, it did not stop them. But in the silence of space, the words still echoed in their minds. Your time is coming. Earth waited for their return. Unaware of what had been found, humanity's future was uncertain, but one truth burned. Inside the crew, they had been warned. They had made their choice, and when the hunger came, humanity would face it not as pawns of the past, but as fighters of their own future. The dark truth was clear. They were not the first, but they might be the last.